BJ, when I think about the SWAC and when I think about this matchup on Saturday, obviously Coach Prime has been getting a lot of run and a lot of face time. But Coach Dooley has consistently been very good in the SWAC. What has he brought to Southern and what has he done to help improve recruiting there and have Southern in a position where they're trying to climb to the top of the SWAC as well?
Man, the biggest thing that he brought back, man, is some of the old traditions. Coach Dooley, man, he was a receivers coach at Southern, recruiting coordinator when I came in. Later became the offensive coordinator. So he was there with Coach Pete Richardson, lockstep. He was there when Southern was winning championship after championship, and he brought back a lot of those the guys on his staff, whether it's Coach Graves, whether it's Coach Miller. He brought a bunch of those guys that were on that staff, on those staffs back, and he's opened his doors up to former players and getting back to some of the older traditions. And more importantly, he's home. He's back in the state of Louisiana. He knows the state. He knows the high school coaches. He knows the recruiting there, and it feels like Southern. It feels like Southern again. It feels like that old Southern that we remember that landed us there. So he's definitely has the fan base energized and excited about, hey, this is where we are halfway through year one. Imagine, where we'll be, year 2, 3, and so forth.
Now, for people that don't understand the rivalry between Jackson State and Southern, this is going to be their first time being introduced to it with College Game Day, having the game on ESPN2. Ken, can you explain to the viewers and to the listeners what this rivalry has traditionally meant and why this game is so big?
When it's Jackson State Southern, we don't care what the sport is. We want to beat them just like they want to beat us. We have our in-state rivals, just like they have Grambling, we have Alcorn. But when it comes to Jackson State Southern, the fans are energized. The bands are energized. This particular rivalry is deemed the quote-unquote boombox classic, which is really was a band battle. This is definitely going to be a lot of smack talking. It's going to be a big-time Battle of the Bands event that goes on Friday night. And if you haven't had a chance to experience this, you got the Human Jukebox, you got the Sunny Boom of the South, and neither one of us will claim that we are second to the other. So you're gonna have that element. Then you have the football team. Then you have to go back and look at the I would say the past 7 years prior to Coach Prime showing up at Jackson. We weren't very good, and Southern owned us, man. So we got a little get back last season, and this season, we hoping that we can continue that trend on Saturday, man. And I ain't, BJ know what it is. I hope we stomp a mud hole in them, and we gonna talk a little smack, and then when it's all over, we'll be back friends again. But until Saturday, let's say around 6:00, I don't know BJ Jones, and BJ Jones don't know me. So if I had to give an example, can we say Michigan, Ohio State of HBCU?
Yeah,
absolutely.
BJ, give me your perspective on the rivalry.
This is one of the most intense rivalries in the country. Notice I didn't say HBCU football, I said the country. And the reason that people don't know about this rivalry is for many years it hadn't been on television. You've been able to see the Bayou Classic and the Magic City Classic and some of those other classes on television. This one, for the most part, really hadn't been on television until very recently. And this is one of the few rivalries, no matter where you take it, it's going to draw well. You go to Birmingham and draw almost 50,000. You take it to Houston, Texas and draw almost 50,000. It doesn't matter where it goes. The two fan bases were so much alike. We believe that we're the top dog in the SWAC. We believe we got the best fan bases in the SWAC. When you ask someone, who's the best fan bases in the SWAC? They're going to say, it's Southern and Jackson State. Who's the best bands in the SWAC? It's Southern, it's Jackson State. And that intensity, it's in everything. Tailgating. Who had the most RVs? Who had the better tailgate? And I tell people, Grambling, yes, is our rival. But Grambling is your brother, your cousin. We hate Jackson State 365. We hate Grambling for a week. And that's the difference between the rivalries. But this one, from an intensity standpoint, I tell you people, we've never needed state troopers to stand in between us and Grambling. We had to have that a few times when we played Jackson State.
So it's like that. This is real smoke. So I just saw something on social media early Aeneas Williams made a post and he was talking a little trash. And I know Aeneas from the St. Louis area from his time with the St. Louis Rams before they ripped our heart out and moved them back to LA. So let me ask you this, BJ. What does Southern need to do on Saturday to have a chance? Because you're going to come in as big underdogs, right? What does Southern need to do to have a chance to take out Jackson State on Saturday?
Biggest thing is that, that defensive line has to eat. We know that they're deep. They're 9 deep. That rotation is impressive. You got, as far as tackle for losses, you got 2 guys that are ranked nationally as far as, the tackles for losses. They have to eat. Also, in the secondary, sure tackles. If you look at Jackson State, most of Shedeur Sanders' passes are within 7 yards. You just got some amazing athletes at receiver where if you don't get them on the ground, they're going to keep running. And they'll be running until next Wednesday if you don't get them on the ground. And then offensively, you're going to have opportunities to take shots. You got to hit them. The thing that separated Jackson State from winning and losing the SWAC championship last year, 3 pass plays. If Jawan Pass hits 2 of the 3, we're having a different conversation. But because how they blitz and they leave those corners out on the island, they're going to force you to make the throw. You got to make them. And when those opportunities present themselves, you have to take advantage of it. Jackson State ain't going to beat themselves. You're going to have to go beat them.
Ken, from the other side and the other corner, what does Jackson State need to do Saturday on ESPN to keep this thing rolling and make sure that the train don't come off the tracks?
I'm gonna steal Coach Prime's thunder a little bit. They got to play smart, tough, fast, discipline. But let me say this though: the key to the game is going to be to make the quarterback McCray one-dimensional. We got to make Southern one-dimensional. They got 2 running backs that that can get it done, and it's going to be who wins in the trenches. This is a at the point of a contact style game. If we can take away the run, which we've successfully been able to do that thus far this season. I know we just played Campbell, and they were one of the few teams this season that was able to clip 100 yards on us. We're going to definitely try to take away the run, and we're going to make that quarterback prove to us that he can actually make the passes. Like I said, you just mentioned we got a 5-star Travis Hunter who will be playing in his 3rd game, and that's going to also take away, we feel, one side of the field, and it's going to give the other DBs some opportunities to make some plays. So if you go and follow him, if you look at his stats, I think he's if you put enough pressure on him, he's kind of a 1-check, 2-check type player, make his first 2 reads and he'll take off running. I don't think that bodes too well for him against this style of defense. And then from there, the defense just has to do what it does, keep Southern out of the end zone. Our goal is to not let any team score on us. And from there, let Shedeur, that real Heisman Trophy candidate, go out there and do what he does. He got a slew of weapons of offense, including the tight ends. And I think at the end of the day, the most important player in this game is not going to be 2 on the offense. It's going to be number 36, Mr. Savion Wilkerson. So our ability to establish the run against Southern and push their D-line back, that would determine, I think, the outcome of the game. And I think we'll have some success there.
BJ, Ken just said something, and him and I talked about this a week or so ago. Is Shedeur Sanders a legitimate Heisman hopeful in your mind?
Legitimate right now. Man, that's a good question. I think he can. I think he can be. I think Shedeur. One of the things I like about him, compared to young quarterbacks, he takes what you give him. I've never seen a quarterback that young and that smart. His football IQ is amazing. A lot of times you see teams that are 3rd and 3 and the quarterback can throw a 12-yard incompletion. Shedeur's just interested in moving the sticks. Heisman usually come down to numbers, who has the numbers. And he may not have the Heisman numbers, but I challenge anyone to just don't look at the numbers. Look at the way in which he plays the game. I'm going to take an Alabama State game. That was a close ball game. Jackson State went on a drive where Shedeur Sanders converted, moved the chains all the way down the field, either by his arm or by his feet, all the way down to score another touchdown. And those are the things that he does. Now, if you look at the stats from the game, I mean, they're not Heisman-like, but I think you have to challenge people to actually watch the game instead of just looking at the stat column.
So before we get out of here, one of the things I want to say now, everybody knows what Deion's recruiting pitch is. He's Deion. He's done an excellent job recruiting. But BJ, right now, if I'm a 5-star recruit and you want me to consider Southern, tell me why I should consider Southern University as a football program in a school if I'm one of the top recruits in the country.
Well, I'll tell you this. One thing about Southern University is, man, we make amazing young men, and that's the first thing that you want to look at. You can look at it throughout the history. You don't see Southern football players get in trouble and end up in the news for all the wrong reasons. And you can sit down in our S Club meetings and you can run into CEOs and lawyers and district attorneys and assistant vice presidents and guys who are making their way up the corporate ladder. Also, we have the Danny Johnsons of the world and Jatari Carter right now, starting with the Chicago Bears. You can do it all. It's a program, hey, we're building. We may not have the bells and whistles that some of the other schools may have, but we have a coach in Eric Dooley that cares about developing young black men, young men, period, and making sure that when you leave Southern University, you're prepared to deal with the real world. It doesn't matter if it's at the National Football League level, in the boardroom, no matter where you want to go. And one thing about Southern University, I made that decision almost 19 years ago. 19 years ago to go to Southern University, and I have not regretted it since. And every year, I appreciate that decision more and more and more. And it's love and it's everything, not just based on your ability on what you can do on the football field or what you can do to somebody, but what they can give you and give you the tools as far as making you the best you can be.
Now, guys, before we get out of here, let's just get down to it. I got one question that I want to ask you both. Let's take it to the tailgate. Let's take it to the yard. We out there. One guy's with Southern, one guy's with Jackson State. Ken, what's the score on Saturday? Who wins the game? Give me your score. What's Jackson State going to do?
I got Jackson State beating Southern by not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns. I'm going to say it again. I got a score of 38-17. I think Southern is going to get above the defensive average because they can put some points on the board. But I think that in the end, that offense and that defense is going to be a little too overwhelming for them. Southern's a great foe. Going to be a great game. We got college game day there. And I think that's the score, 38-17.
BJ.
We're going to go JQ by Deion Sanders, 21.
BJ. Come on now. Saturday, Jackson State, Southern on the road. What's the score? Tell me what's going to happen.
I got Southern 28-20. I think this situation reminds me of 2012. We came into 2012. No one gave us a chance and nowhere to beat Jackson State. Jackson State was a championship contending football team. Went on to the SWAC championship game to face Arkansas Pine Bluff. We had literally just fired our coach the week before after an embarrassing loss to Mississippi Valley. Came into Jackson State and jumped on them quick, fast, in a hurry. And they never could recover. And one of the things about this ball game, man, the guys are fired up. And we feel like we let one get away last year. Had a nice little streak against Jackson State going. We had won 7 in a row. And we let one get away. And that's been in the back of the minds of a lot of these guys. So to have an opportunity to redeem yourself with a lot on the line, we win this one tomorrow. We're talking about potentially SWAC championship game at Mumford Stadium. That changed the entire dynamic. So a lot on the line for us. And like I said, it reminds me of 2012. These guys are motivated. They're ready. And I told somebody asked me, talking to the guys, how does the team feel? I told them, hey, it's like the front of the plane is all business. So let me get Southern 28-20.
All right. One more thing before I get out. 60 seconds or less. Ken, I'm going to start with you. What does College Game Day coming to Jackson State Southern game, covering an HBCU game, mean to the HBCUs and the SWAC as a whole? 60 seconds or less.
It means everything to us. We feel like we're visible. It's going to be huge for the city of Jackson. It's going to be huge for both Jackson State as well as Southern. And one of the things we get an opportunity to do now is for some of those eyes that normally wouldn't see our institutions, just like BJ stated, we get to go into their front rooms, into their living rooms, and we get to put on a display. We get to show them the pageantry. We get to tell them our story. We both got Hall of Famers. I know you touched on Niels Williams, but we got 4 Hall of Famers. And if they didn't know that already with the time that we spent on TV, they now get a chance to see that even more so. And then the other thing too, this is a big recruiting tool, because now when those football players, those high schoolers that go on Saturday and they watch College Game Day, and you see Coach Lee Corso put that mascot head on, that's something that's been a part of us that love college football for eons. So to have that at Jackson State with fans at a university that represents those that look like you and BJ, you know, the African American community, is something we could be proud of, and it's something that we can look forward to. And we hope College Game Day doesn't take as long as it took to get back to another HBCU, but we're fortunate and thankful to have it at Jackson State.
BJ, 60 seconds or less. College Game Day. What does this mean for HBCU football?
Oh man, it's huge. It's big, man. Had the opportunity when I was at Southern. College Game Day came down for the Bayou Classic in 2005. But this one, I think that you're going to see the intensity. A lot of people hear about Southern Jackson State, but you're going to be able to see that, and to have that passion and that intensity shown on ESPN. I think it's going to be an eye opener for a lot of people, and I think it's going to be an introduction for a lot of people to the depths of HBCU football and how deep it goes as far as the tradition in the pageantry. I think this is an amazing thing. Thankful for the platform that our schools are going to have, and it's something that's going to benefit not only Jackson State and Southern, but I feel like the Southwestern Athletic Conference as a whole. And if you look at the trajectory of the conference, of the SWAC since 2019, it's nothing short of amazing. And I feel like the better days, so often we talked about the SWAC about, you know, the 70s and the 80s, but I'm here to tell you, I believe that our better days are ahead of us. So I think that having game day here is just, you know, just a symbol of that.
Real quick, guys, BJ, let everybody know where they can find you at on social media, where they can listen to you and see your work with HBCU Game Day.
All right, man. You can find me actually on Twitter at Inside HBCU FBall. Also on the Black College Sports Network. You catch me on Sunday mornings with Dr. Cavill and Charles Bishop, one of my other Jackson State guys, breaking down the games from on Saturday. You catch me on Tuesday nights. We do spaces on Twitter. We talk about HBCU Weekly on Tuesday nights, and Top Five Tuesday. We talk about the top 5 teams that I have ranked week to week in the HBCU poll. So those are the places that you can find me. Like I said, like the Black College Sports Network, and you can see me a lot more things coming down the pipe, pipes from me. So keep your eyes peeled.
Ken, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Ken Clark _1400. You can also follow our podcast, Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club podcast. The Corey C, Nunzio Phillips, Shakir Jones, Mike B, all of us with really good, amazing crew of individuals and alums of Jackson State. We cover all things Jackson State. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, and all your major podcast outlets. Again, that's Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. And then you can follow us on all social media, Tiger Talk 1400. And you can also follow me on IG, Ken Clark _1400. Thank you.
Guys, I want to thank you for coming on. For BJ Jones and Ken Clark, I am Coach Reed Live, and this was Real Talk.